This is PRIME7 Local News with Madeleine Collignon, Kenny Hinkley and meteorologist Carl Linders with your local weather. Now, PRIME7 Local News at 6.
Tonight, a brazen car theft in Rutherglen, all captured on CCTV.
An experienced gliding enthusiast dies in a heartbreaking accident at Benalla.
Yarrawonga Bunnings targeted in a bizarre ram raid.
And warm and sunny weather for Tuesday. Your weather details soon.
Good evening. Police have released CCTV vision of a brazen car theft in Rutherglen.
The car was snatched as the local newsagent started his working day. Police are hoping someone will recognise the thief from the images you're about to see.
It appears to be a calculated crime committed by a patient thief who'd been sitting, watching and waiting for his moment, and it was all captured on CCTV. In the early hours of the morning, local newsagent Dan Taborski leaves his car unattended, keys in the ignition, for just a moment.
Arranging different vehicles to actually do our job and, having other vehicles to get kids around, and it was, it might be just a trip home for him, but it was 2 weeks of grief for us, basically.
Mr Taborski acknowledges he probably shouldn't have left the keys in the car, but as a former resident of Melbourne's outer suburbs, he never expected that in a peaceful, friendly town like Rutherglen.
I had to move to the country to get in car flog, but it's all a bit of a laugh, really.
Everybody's worried. Their car's not going to get knocked off from their house, it's not going to get searched and robbed. Everybody's worried.
The suspect can be seen wearing a Puma hoodie and DC shorts. Police say they're unsure of the thief's motives.
I found the vehicle left in Corowa about 4 days later in Gallipoli Street in Corowa. And there was no damage to the car and the keys were still in the car.
Police advise the public to not become complacent and warn opportunistic crimes can occur at any time. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Rutherglen Police Station or Crime Stoppers. Eleanor Tebone, PRIME7 News.
An experienced gliding enthusiast has died after getting into trouble at Benalla in what police believe may have been a failed attempt to land. The glider crashed into a paddock and police say it could be months before they know the exact cause of the accident.
Detectives scour a paddock in Murray Road, Benalla, searching for clues as to what may have caused an experienced gliding enthusiast to lose control and crash. Moments before impact, it's believed the 75-year-old Frankston man, a pilot with 15 years' experience, had tried to make an emergency landing.
During that attempt, something has caused the aircraft to dive or potentially lose height significantly, and which resulted in, obviously, the collision and the death of the pilot.
One witness says he saw the glider in the air just minutes before it began its deadly descent.
I noticed it heading, disappearing over the back of the buildings, and made a comment to a friend that it must be going into land, and then I said to him, no, it's on the wrong direction.
The man's death has sent shockwaves through the local gliding community. They say the victim was a well-known and respected member who knew only too well the risk he was taking.
Very unusual occurrence. It's something that we strive to avoid. And at the same time, we have to say it's an aviation sport and these sorts of things can happen.
Investigators will now examine the glider's black box, but say it could take several months to determine the cause of the crash. The 75-year-old's accident serving as a deadly reminder for others to take care in the air.
It really hits home and is really shocking that what you saw with the last minutes of his life.
Josh Ribrich, PRIME7 News.
Hardware giant Bunnings was targeted in a failed ram raid attack in Yarrawonga this morning. Police believe at least 2 vehicles were involved in the attempt, one using a stolen trailer.
It's one of the newest and largest Bunnings stores in regional Australia. Today, the Yarrawonga store proved it's also one of the most secure. After what appears to be a well-planned attack, the end result is a little more than a damaged roller door, rather than thousands of dollars worth of stolen goods.
One vehicle was seen travelling east on the Murray Valley Highway towards Wangaratta, and the other vehicle was seen travelling north through an estate in Yarrawonga.
One vehicle was towing a trailer during the raid. Police believe it was unhooked from a car in a nearby street and stolen.
Called Tradie was a little bit disappointed to find his trailer was missing, but he did a patrol of Yarrawonga and he located his trailer about 200 metres west of Bunnings store on the side of the road, so he's been able to get that back.
Police believe this morning's ram raid may be linked to 2 other burglaries last week. One at WB Hunter's hardware store where 5 chainsaws were stolen, and another at a service station in Katamatite where a number of cigarettes were stolen. Bunnings confirmed the raiders did not gain entry to the store.
The vehicle was a Holden Commodore SS late model, so 2016 dark blue, so we're appealing for any witnesses who have seen that vehicle around the area.
Anyone with any information is urged to contact Yarrawonga Police Station or Crime Stoppers. Eleanor Tabone, PRIME7 News.
Emergency services rushed to a house in Wodonga today fearing a chemical explosion. Instead, what they discovered was an extremely rare dust explosion caused by a build-up of dust over a fluorescent light. The force was so strong it shook the roof, dislodging tiles. 2 people were confirmed to be home at the time.
The light malfunctioned and the dust and air mixture were just at the right levels, and thankfully no one was hurt.
An attending officer says it's the first time he's seen that kind of dust explosion in 12 years on the job. It's regional Australia's answer to the famous running of the bulls in Pamplona. It's just nowhere near as dangerous. The running of the sheep is the culmination of the colourful Burrawa Irish Woolfest.
It might not be the same test of bravery as the running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain, but it's way more fun. At the running of the sheep in Burrawa, the only danger is slipping on the little deposits the sheep leave across the main street. It's all part of the Burrawa Irish Woolfest, which began 21 years ago to celebrate the region's world-class merino wool industry. Now it's a major tourist attraction. In stunning spring weather, the town turned on a sea of colour, attracting visitors from across the region. From fleece and food to music and animals, the festival has grown each year. While the running of the sheep is the highlight, they wouldn't go anywhere if it wasn't for the sheepdogs.
What a great morning it's been. We've had the running of the sheep up the main street and all the floats go past. It's part of the tourism end of the year for Hilltops Council and Hilltops region.
Sarah Jones, PRIME7 News.
It's time now for a quick check of the weather with meteorologist Carl Linders.
So, Carl, it was a beautiful weekend and not a bad way to start off the week either.
It's not a bad way at all, Kenny. Lovely conditions to start the working week in Victoria today. 21 degrees in Beechworth, Yarrawonga. Over the border for the public holiday Monday, 22 degrees, 19 at Bright. Still chilly though, a little bit of frost around, and 20 degrees for Albury today. Satellite picture, clear skies right across Victoria and southern parts of New South Wales. Though upstream into the northeast, we've certainly got a deepening trough. That's activating quite a lot of moisture along the coastline. But for us over the next few days, we can track some warmer weather coming our way, courtesy of northerly winds around this high, and we're going to see some of the warmest weather we've seen all spring, which is great news for those hanging out for some summertime conditions. But some stormy skies are on the back end of that as well. So more on that coming up after sport, guys. Bit of spring in the air.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, thanks, Carl. Catch you shortly.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, bad news for single girls in Albury. There's a serious man drought.
Plus, dust and donuts. All the action from the Ute Master.
Stay in touch 24/7 with PRIME7 News.
Wade Park in the appropriately named town of Orange was filled with redheads over the weekend, but did enough turn up to set a new world record? Let's find out.
A riot of redheads, nearly 800 of them in fact, organised into groups and counted in an effort to crack a world record, the most number of redheads in one place. And yes, these gingers have been called every name under the sun.
I had matchstick and carrot top.
Yeah, get all that.
Talking about the names we used to get called as kids. And it's a universal, and everybody gets the same. The guy behind us and the lady in front of us, they were going, oh, yep, that's what they called us too. Yep.
It was 50 shades of ginger, from flame red to strawberry blonde, all at Wade Park.
And there's all the shades and colours of red that I've ever seen. It's so amazing.
This wasn't just a celebration of Redheads though. About 2,000 people came through the gates to help raise money and awareness of Huntington's disease.
Huntington's disease is a tragic disease that nobody knows a lot about, so I'm really trying to create awareness to help families like myself with my mum and my brother who's also inherited Huntington's disease.
There was plenty of food and fun on offer, but the best part, it was totally unique.
So I wanted to do something different and quirky, and, that's what Redheads are.
So did Orange earn a place in the record books?
Well, we didn't break the world record, but we did break the Orange record. So our final number was 769.
It was a solid attempt, and the day was such a success that they're hoping to do it all again. So we might be seeing red again in 2018. Floyd Cush, PRIME7 News.
The iconic Deniliquin Ute Master has wrapped up for another year. It's estimated 20,000 people attended the two-day event, which was, as always, a weekend of muddy musical madness. They came from all over the country to the unofficial Ute capital of the world, and there was no shortage of entertainment to keep crowds busy, from big-name music acts to whip cracking and, of course, Utes being driven like rally cars.
And still coming after the break, we've got weather and plenty of sport. We catch up with the Border Oz kicker who got up close and personal.
That's right. We've got plenty coming up. Stay with us here on PRIME7. Some of the biggest names in Australian motorsport visited the region today ahead of Bathurst this weekend. Among them was former Brad Jones racing driver Jason Bright, who admitted it was a bit strange being back on the border in different colours.
While the dust settles from a big weekend of Grand Final football action, hype around the Grand Final of motorsport continues to build. Bathurst is now just a few days away, and some of the sport's biggest names paid a visit to the border today on their way to Mount Panorama, including former BJR driver Jason Bright.
It's sort of a little bit different back here in different colours this year. Obviously I spent a fair bit of time over here last 7 years with BJR, but no, it's good to see such a turnout, see some different fans wearing the blue colours.
The supercar veteran knows what it takes to win at Bathurst. Bright won the historic race back in 1998.
This year, going there in new colours, but there's still a lot that stays the same. But it's still every bit as challenging no matter what colour you're in.
Star drivers Mark Winterbottom and Chaz Mostert were also in town to meet fans and sign autographs, but for once they probably weren't the centre of attention. Cameron Waters is one of the sport's rising stars, and with good reason. He just claimed his first supercar win a fortnight ago at Sandown.
It just gives you a little bit more confidence, so you know you can do it if everything goes right. And the car was faster at Sandown as well, which was nice, and hopefully where it was fast at Sandown, it'll be quicker Bathurst as well.
Bathurst action starts later this week with the big race on Sunday. Fletcher Doherty, PRIME7 News.
The world's hardest obstacle course is returning to the border region. The Spartan Race is back in Bright this coming weekend for the second year. Brave competitors willing to take on the extreme obstacle course will again have the choice between three distances, ranging from 7 kilometres up to 42. For the first time, there'll also be a children's race, giving kids under the age of 13 a chance to get dirty as well. It's all on Saturday. If you want to give it a try, you'll need to sign up by tomorrow. We met the Oz kicker who stole the show at the Grand Final a little earlier, but he wasn't the only border junior to experience footy's biggest day from the middle of the MCG.
It was all back to normal for 9-year-old Mitch Adams today, kicking the footy around Sumption Gardens. But there was nothing normal about his weekend. The Oz kick star got to play on the MCG at half-time of the AFL Grand Final, an experience he sums up pretty well.
How was it playing on the MCG on Grand Final day?
Epic.
Epic?
Yeah.
That's not all his weekend entailed, though, as one of the Oz Kickers of the year.
Thursday we did the awards dinner, then Friday I walked in the Grand Final parade. Then we went to the Grand Final, played at half-time, and at the end of the game we presented the medal.
If you were watching the PRIME7 coverage of the big game, you might have spotted young Mitch carrying out his Grand Final duties, which according to Mitch was the highlight of the weekend by far.
So we presented a medal to a player, and I presented it to Jason Castagna.
Despite sharing a special moment with Castagna, he's not Mitch's favourite player. The 9-year-old is a Bulldogs man and he's not jumping ship anytime soon. But he'll never forget this Richmond flag as the weekend all his footy dreams came true. Fletcher Doherty, PRIME7 News.
Lavington netballer Sky Hillier will be out of action for 12 months with injury. Hillier injured her knee during the final quarter of her side's grand final loss last weekend, and scans have revealed the worst for the star goal attacker. She's ruptured her ACL and will now miss the 2018 season. Will the fine and sunny weather stick around, or will the storms in the north of the state head our way? Carl has the latest weather for the week ahead up next.
New figures from the Australian Bureau of Statistics have revealed something most single women in Albury have probably known for a long time. The town has a serious shortage of men.
It's the age-old question, where have all the good men gone? The answer seems to be, not to Albury. So, in theory, Albury blokes have things pretty easy.
I suppose the chances are higher, I guess. But I don't know about easier.
Oh, I'm single myself, I do my own thing, so I haven't really noticed it, I suppose.
That's probably a good thing, really good thing, but it would have been good 20 years ago when I went out on the town, but a bit old now, I don't go out much anymore.
Based on the latest population, age and sex data from the ABS, Albury is ranked among the top 10 local government areas with the lowest gender ratios of men to women, with 93.9 men for every 100 women, down from 94.2 2 years ago.
Actually, I would have thought it'd be the other way around.
It's more to choose from, it's going to make it a hard decision.
Most of the blokes that I know are leaving, going off to the mines, going into the army, so it's sort of not surprising that a lot of them are going elsewhere. Women are tending to stay home, families, yeah.
While things may be looking grim for the single ladies of Albury, across the border it's a different story. In Wodonga there are 4 more men for every 100 women. So, could the figures attract more single men to Albury?
Oh, it may do too, but it's only a small place, there's not really a lot to do here.
You'd be silly not to, wouldn't you? All the girls are over there in Albury, mate.
Yeah, more women.
Jessica Gledhill, PRIME7 News.
For a closer look at the weather forecast, we're joined once again by meteorologist Carl Linders.
So, Carl, it's been beautiful. We've got some warm days on the way, but we're getting some rain in the north of the state. Is any of that going to come down south, or what do you think?
Eventually, Kenny. We're starting to see the seasonal shift, which we've been looking for across, well, New South Wales in particular, which has been very, very dry. Through our region, though, we've been quite okay through winter. So we've only gone a week so far without rainfall, and that's been over the last week. So temperatures are on the rise, and that's going to be the theme through the week. Very, very showery along the east coast. Some of that moisture will eventually spill over the ranges ahead of a cold front on Thursday. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But as you can see, easterly winds really drifting through the nation. So we've lost that searing heat from last week. And as I said, a cold front will start to move into that moisture, and we'll see quite a significant shower and storm activity right across the Great Dividing Range, and particularly in Western Victoria. Now let's have a look what happens through the outlook. We can see showers and storms really ramping up on Friday morning. This whole circulation is interesting because if it does move more east rather than south, we could have very heavy rainfall across northeastern parts of Victoria, given the moisture coming in on that northeasterly flow. We will quickly get back into northerly winds through the outlook period across the weekend. Very warm conditions, particularly on Sunday. And again, the risk of showers and thunderstorms developing thanks to those moist northwesterly winds. And moving forward again through the outlook period, you can see again, showers and storms really starting to ramp up as we get through towards this time next week. So how does that add up right across our region? Well, certainly heavy falls up and down the east coast. It lightens off through western New South Wales, but for us, around 15 to 25 millimetres of rainfall over the next week. I think, depending on that low through the outlook period, might get some heavier falls. Sunshine for Albury and Wodonga tomorrow, 24 degrees for you. Some fog patches are possible closer towards Shepparton and south towards the central ranges of Victoria, but otherwise it is looking like a pretty good weekend. Start to the Tuesday for you there. 23 degrees for you in Benalla and 24 for Shepparton, as I said. Partly cloudy for your midweek. Partly cloudy skies in the afternoon, particular Some afternoon showers and storms are possible over the Alpine peaks just because of that spring warmth and the snow interacting together. So we could get some really, really interesting shower and storm activity developing Thursday, more so right across the region. So we're going into that springtime finally right across the district with some heavy falls possible around the northern slopes in the afternoon. Very welcome indeed. Sunrise tomorrow, 7:15, and setting now finally at 7:20 so plenty of light for you in the evenings as well. And then we've got some showers really ramping up overnight into Friday, rain easing to showers on Friday with 17 degrees, much cooler. But we quickly warm up. I think we might get warmer on Sunday, 24 at this stage, maybe 28 degrees. Couple of showers and thunderstorms are possible about the mountains. They could drift into Albury in the afternoon in a southerly wind regime, and then we might see some general rain and thunderstorm activity with that next change thanks to that moisture. So guys, plenty of moisture across the region. It may get utilised later in the weekend, but for now, we've gone a week without rain. I think we can do just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's so good to see the wet weather. Our, gardens are loving it at the minute, aren't they?
I was up in the snow, up in the mountains on the weekend. The cover is still amazing for this time of year. It's extraordinary.
It's remarkable.
How much snow is still yet to come, and also to melt.
That's
right.
going
to be an issue as well.
And with these warmer temperatures, it will be like very much the chance of some flash flooding with any of these showers and storms. So we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks,
Carl. See you tomorrow.
And that's all we have time for tonight. You can join the debate on tonight's stories on Facebook.
And also watch tonight's top stories on our website. Thanks for watching. Coming up, 7 News from Melbourne.